Hello, you're listening to the Manifest It Sis podcast, a safe space for women of color to heal, get aligned, and learn all things spirituality, manifesting, self-care, and personal development. I'm your host, Dani Faust. I'm a psychic intuitive, energy healer, and life coach that helps you shift your energy to manifest your dopest life with more ease and grace. Thank you so much for joining me. Let's jump in. Hello, friends. Remember me? Hi, it's me, Dani. I've missed you. I'm sorry I left you without a dope beat to step to, but child, 2021 has been a beast. I hope it has not been a beast for you guys. And I appreciate all the DMs, the emails, and the messages asking where the hell the podcast was. Some of you were sweeter than others, and I appreciate everyone who reached out, and I appreciate everyone who is still listening to the podcast during the hiatus. I appreciate you so much. I am going to have a one-on-one kind of just me talking to you kind of episode next week, but I figured I would bring back the podcast with a bright, sunshiny dose of positivity. So I invited a wonderful woman that you guys are going to fall in love with. This girl drops so many love bombs and like well said mic drop things in this episode. You're going to love her. Her name is Terri Huggins. She is a nationally published journalist. She's also a freelance writer. I think she's also a poet. She's been published everywhere. I've known her for years, and why I wanted her on the podcast was because she's just such a natural, bright light, and she is one of the people who naturally manifests and embodies manifestation. It's just a part of how she is because she just lives a high vibe lifestyle, and she does a very intentional style of high vibed parenting, which we also touch on today in this episode. So I wanted to just come back with a blast of giggly, happy, bright, sunshiny, good vibes for you guys. And next week I will be doing a Q&A type episode with some of the questions that you guys have sent over the past month. And so before we hop in to talk to Terri, I just want to let you know that this episode is sponsored by me and the Lifestyle Redesign Lounge on Facebook. Come join us. We have a lot of fun over there and we get our minds right. We're working on our manifesting. It's a dope community. If you're not dope, I'm sorry you can't sit with us. But if you are and have good vibes, then come on with it. It's called the Lifestyle Redesign Lounge on Facebook. Love to have you. Come on over. And don't forget, you can always hop into my DMs on Instagram at the Dani Faust, and I can give you the link there. Check the show notes for all the links that I just mentioned, as well as everything that Terri discusses today on the episode. Let's get into it.
We are here with Miss Terri Huggins. Hi, thank you so much for being here.
Hey, Dani, I'm so excited. I feel like I've known you for how long now and never really met?
I know. The internet, man, it makes the world so small. Like everyone's connected, and then you forget. Like I forget that I haven't seen you in real life.
Right. You know, I tell my husband all the time, like I do all these phone calls. I'm like, my girl from the internet. And he's like, so you never met her before? I'm like, no, not really, but I feel like I have.
What's real life anyway? I mean, come on.
I mean, our entire life has been on Zoom for the last year anyway, so.
I know. How are you handling that?
It's been interesting. It's been rough sometimes. Like, I'll be honest, it hasn't always been easy. But one thing that I've tried to do is be intentional. I'm big on affirmations. I'm big on taking time for myself. I always tell myself if I can just find 20 minutes for myself a day, just for myself, then I'm good. Ooh. All I need is 20 minutes.
And what do you do in that 20 minutes?
Ideally, I'm reading a book or a magazine, or I'm stretching or pole dancing or something for myself. Or I love my sheet masks. I'm big on sheet masks, just laying out with my sheet mask, soaking it all in, keeping my youth, all about that. And then I love my wine. I like to drink everything in a wine glass.
Even water.
Even water, yes. If you've ever seen
Yes.
my Instagram stories, I actually had in the morning. I like to say that I start my day off with sparkle. It's my intentional thing. Start every day with a little bit of sparkle.
I love
Uh,
it.
so I drink my sparkling water and a champagne flute in the morning, and it makes the day so much brighter for me. Honest, just that little thing. It's like you start on the right foot.
That is beautiful. And it's like, how can you have a bad day when you're starting with sparkle? I mean, come on.
Exactly. So sometimes in my stories, I'm like, "Have you had your sparkle yet today?" Like, always start the day with a little bit of sparkle.
I love your stories. Every day I get an affirmation, or today, do you call them affirmation or mantras? But in the morning, when I swipe over to you, I know I'm going to get something positive, and it just makes me feel really good.
Yeah, I call them I guess I go between both actually, affirmations and mantras, depending on what I'm saying. It's something that I feel really strongly about. My mom always told me that positive thoughts yield a positive life, and it's stuck. Like she drilled that into my head at a young age, and I just kept going with it.
I like that. Good job, mom.
All right, all right. The best is when I start telling her the things that she taught me.
They don't like that.
She's not
Moms
happy.
don't like that. They're like, wait,
She's
hold
not.
on. You guys, you have to follow Terrific Words on Instagram so that you can get your dose of positivity in the morning. And it actually dose of positivity all day long. Like, I don't think you ever post anything that doesn't feel like light and uplifting. So
Yeah, I try to be really light. Every now and then, I post my regular, Black Lives Matter, all boys should be treated well, and good boy or boys. Damn, what is it that I say? Hold on, scratch that. What is it? Oh no, not boys will be boys. Boys will be good people.
yes.
That's it. So, every now and then I do put that because I think it's important. But for the most part, I like to be light and lifted because we need that. And sometimes social media gets so heavy,
Mm.
so heavy. And I want to be a little bit of sunshine in everybody's day.
You are a ray of sunshine. And I think people are going to get your good vibes just through this podcast. So you are a mom of boys. How are you putting this ray of sunshine out to them? Are you teaching them the same affirmation stuff your mom taught you, or are you
Oh,
expanding
yes.
on it?
I
Yeah, look.
definitely am. I do it in so many ways. One, definitely affirmations. Before my son leaves for school every morning, I always tell him, like, you are a good boy, you are a smart boy, you are a talented boy, you have endless potential, and you can change the world. And I
Ooh.
mean, he just turned 5 last week, so who knows how much of this he's actually understanding. However, you hear that stuff enough, you believe it and you see it within yourself. And it's so important, especially being a mom to a Black boy. The world is out to tell them that they're everything but, you know,
Mm.
rays of sunshine and potential. So it is my job to make sure that they know that they have that in them.
I love it. How does he respond to it? I mean, he's 5. He's probably beaming like, "Yee, mommy loves me."
So, I'm actually not sure. My son does have some speech delays and some developmental delays. So I'm honestly not, he does repeat it back sometimes.
Oh.
So I honestly have no idea how much he's absorbing, but I do believe that he is so much smarter than he lets on, and he's just not saying anything because he does not want to say anything yet. he's like, he's like, when I have something to say, Mom, I will let you know. That's how I feel. But some days he does repeat it back to me, and it makes my heart so happy. And with his delays, I think it's even more important that I say you don't see Black children with any developmental delays. You don't see, other than Amanda Gorman, how often do we hear anybody with, a speech impediment or whatever disability, or, something that could possibly hinder them, so called, and see them thriving. So that alone is even more reason for me to drill that into my boys' heads. And even my 1-year-old, he'll be 2 next month, but I tell him too. Who knows what he's listening to? Most of the time, he's in his mind phase now. So I don't think he really gets it. Although I'd be like, yes, baby, the world is yours, mine.
Yes, abundance is mine. Power is mine. Strength is mine. Good
Yes.
job, baby.
Yes. What he gets, because he's only one, who knows? But that is how I try to drill it into my boys because it's so important. Other than the mantras, I try to be really conscious about how I carry myself around them as well as how I speak to them. When my son does something great, in addition to saying, I'm so proud of you, I also say, I hope you're proud of yourself. Because I want them to recognize that satisfaction, that good feeling that could come from within. You don't need anybody else to acknowledge that. Now, trust, mommy is always going to acknowledge it, but you don't need me to acknowledge it to know that you are great.
I love that. I just started asking my son, he's 9. I just started asking him when he's done something amazing, are you proud of yourself? And he's so hard on himself. Like if he draws a penguin and it's just not perfect, he's like, and he's like ripping it up or crumpling it up. And I'm like, this is amazing. I take it from him. I stretch it out. And I ask him like, are you proud of yourself? And when we started this process, because it's been for a few months now, I've been asking him, are you proud of yourself? And he's been like, I guess, I don't know. And now he's like, yep, I am. Yes, I am proud of myself. So I feel like both of your sons, it's sticking. Just keep with it, and it's something sinking in because if
Yeah.
hard-headed Rowan can have it sink in, you certainly will.
I sure hope so, because I can tell you my second is definitely the hard-headed one. I can
Yeah.
I can tell. I can tell. My oldest is so cuddly and so lovable. I mean, they're both very lovable, but my oldest, there's something just so squishy and like, oh, I just want to kiss you. My youngest, as lovable as he is not a cuddler at all. He will just beat you. He will climb on your head. My oldest will try to hug mommy's head. My youngest will climb on my head, sit on my head. They are two complete opposites. So it's
That's his way of saying, Mommy, you're my foundation. I'll just climb on your
you know what?
head.
I
Thank you for
take
your
it.
support.
Yes, yes, I'll take that. I like it. That is
Reframe anything, girl.
yes, definitely reframe it all. And that has really been the key to getting me through the pandemic.
Yeah.
I was mentioning in the early parts of the pandemic when everything shut down and every meeting was online and I couldn't keep track of it. I remember I kept missing virtual meetings with my son's teacher and I was beating myself up over it. And I remember
Mm.
saying to myself, I'm failing as a mother because I took it so hard. And my husband said, like, would you stop saying that? Like, just because you made a mistake does not mean you failed as a mother. And he really got mad at me. And I'm actually happy he did because I didn't realize how much I said it. The next week or so, I became really intentional about saying, even on my worst days, I am still an amazing mother. And when I
Mm.
tell you that every day just flipped after that, everything just fell into place. And it was just reaffirming what my mother always told me. Those positive thoughts lead to a positive life. Once I told myself that I am a good mother, even on my worst days, everything just fell into place.
I
I mean,
love that.
it was just a whole different world. I can't even describe to you like just the change. And
How
I'm like,
long did it take? Like what was the time frame there?
when I started saying
Yeah.
it,
And started noticing the shift.
honestly, it was almost immediately. To
Oh,
be
I love
quite
that.
honest, it maybe like the first 2 days I
That's an
noticed this
energy
shift.
shift.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
energy shift is real. It is real, but it changed everything. And it also helped me realize that what I can do for others is that's not what my worth is dependent on. And I think as a
Mm.
mother, we sit there and we identify in what we're doing for our kids, how we're caring for our spouse, are we putting them in this class, are we doing this, are we that? And everything we measure is based on what we're doing for everybody else. And that is not your worth at all.
And
Your worth is not determined on what you are doing for other people at all. At all. That's just an added benefit. But that is not the essence of who you are. There is so much more to you than what you do for other people. And it's so hard to break out of that when you're a mom. And even if you're not a mom, people get their identity so wrapped up in their jobs and their volunteer work or, whatever. And that's great. If you love your job, that is great. If you love being a mother, fabulous. But you also have to recognize that that's not all of who you are. That is not how your worth is based.
yes. Okay. If she had a mic, that's where it would drop. Okay. Because that was amazing. I'm here just like, yes, yes. Ladies, are you hearing her? I think also as Black women, there's like this thing of how much we can endure. And we're just like, how much we give is like determines our worthiness, and how much we put up with. And it's just like, nah, man, I want to put my heart chakra and like turn the arrows back on myself and just like fill myself up with love. And then y'all, I love you, but you come second. Sorry, even you kids, you know?
Yes,
And that's
yes.
horrible. Like society doesn't want us to feel that way.
You know, because I feel like we're demonized for choosing ourselves. Like they made self-care a bad word. They
Like, why
made
is that innovation now? Like, why is self-care innovation in 2021?
Well, you know why? Because we were raised our whole life to work yourself to the bone. We were taught that basically you get a medal for having the most struggle. We were taught that we do the 9 to 5 and not take a break because why? We thought that our value was based on what we were giving our employers. So we can't take a break because in our values, they're just messed up. We don't have any worth. So yeah, now that's why self-care is this huge thing because we were taught bad principles. They left a horrible impression on us. And this is how it manifests. We finally changed the ways. Like I made this Twitter comment a couple days ago that I am so grateful for the entitled millennials, so-called titled millennials, because they are the ones that showed us that a living wage is a right, not a privilege, that the hustle is not something that we need to go after and glorify, and that finding peace and balance is what we are owed and deserve. But you know, we were called entitled for that. Now they're all trying to see the light.
Yes. I never really connected it to oh boy. I never really connected it to the millennials. And I am an elder millennial because I'm an 81 baby. So
You're still a millennial. You count. You count. You count.
Hey, I'm claiming it. But I never really connected it to that generation. But it's so true. And everyone just looking down like, oh, they don't want to work. Yeah, we want to nap because we are working at something we love and are passionate about. And we should rest and self-soothe and fulfill ourselves and then work again. Like, I don't think anyone's like, I don't want to work, period.
Exactly. And not only that, we want to work and actually make a decent wage. Yes. I mean, they want to act like we want like gold encrusted toilets to sit our ass on. Like, no, we just want to have a wage that we could live and, you know, maybe go to Wendy's every now and then, maybe get a nice meal at Chris Steakhouse. Like, no, I don't.
Maybe some health benefits. I don't know.
Maybe health benefits, you know, but that made us entitled. Yeah. Wanting to have vacation time made us entitled. Wanting to be able to pay the bills made us entitled. And we're like, no, that's not how it's going to go here. The millennials roll up and we're like, nope.
I think it's a new era. Like this whole, I think a lot of people came here more awakened, came to earth. I mean, more awakened. I feel like for my parents' generation, they're starting to kind of break through and wipe the dust from their eyes and see like, wait, there's more to this. I was sold a raw bill of goods saying I got to work till I'm 65 and now I can start enjoying myself. Like, wait a second. Maybe these kids aren't crazy hippies. Maybe they know what they're talking about. But I think a lot of people are just becoming more awakened. And I feel like 2020 forced a lot of people to awaken.
Exactly. Look, I just got to say, we got to give it up for the entitled millennials for showing them the light. And I can say that I'm proud of the so-called entitled millennials. Yes, because I knew back then, I'm like, this ain't for that. This ain't it. That life is not for me.
Yeah.
So yeah, and as you bring up your parents, one thing, you know, circling back to parenthood and motherhood, one thing that has definitely made it easier for me as a mother and looking at my parents again is recognizing that they were in a society in which mental health was not talked about. They didn't have the access to things that we do now. And it helped me forgive my parents. Now, don't get me wrong, I have a great relationship with my parents, but I think we all have things where like, why the hell did my mother do that? I wish she didn't, you know, we all have those things. But when I put it into perspective, I'm like, you know, my parents did it all without that support. When it was, you had to keep it on the hush hush that you were stressed or you know, whatever it was that you were going through. And the other part is recognizing the beauty that I saw my parents grow up. And we don't think about it like that. We literally watched our parents grow up. And when you flip the script like that, it's easier to give them a bit more grace.
Absolutely. Listen, oh my God, so many things to say to that. But one, Okay, I talk about San and Dani. Those are my parents. I talk about them on Instagram and on my blog. The way they were raised in such a tight box with the fear of judgment by society at large, by the white majority, by
Yes.
everyone, that colored how they had to parent and how what they felt was best and what was safe. And through therapy I was able to be like, okay, I see you, San, I see you, Donnie, I love you, I forgive you. Not that they were horrible, they're great parents, I never want
Right,
for anything.
right.
But you know, parenting, what good parenting looked like is certainly miles away from what it might look like now. And good is subjective, but I think it's a lot more open. The parameters are a lot more open and free now than they were when maybe. And I say all that to say that when I look at my parents now, I can recognize where they were. And yes, we grew up. My mom had me at 21. Are you kidding me?
Wow.
When I was barely sober, I couldn't imagine having Rowan or Kaya. I would be like, woof. Anyway, but yeah, we watch them grow up. And I feel like when I do the healing kind of work with my clients and we do kind of the regressing and taking them back to their youth to figure out their pain points and what started the wound so that they can heal it now. I always tell them to view their parents as a 5-year-old or a 4-year-old version of their parents so that they're able to more easily give them grace, because that's really who was parenting you. That
Mhm.
wounded 5-year-old was just like playing as an adult parenting a child. Like, kudos to you for making it through that, mom and dad.
Right, right.
And as adults, we can look at them as their 5-year-old wounded self, and then we can just be so much more gentle in how we interact with them and easily forgive
Exactly.
the trauma that they inflicted on us
Exactly.
inadvertently.
It once you put it in that perspective, it makes it so much easier. It's like a weight is lifted off your shoulders. And I'm assuming with your parents as well, like my parents, coming from another country, not only were they in that bubble in the 80s when some things just weren't talked about, they were trying to figure out life in a whole new country. They were still trying to find their identity, incorporate American culture while still holding on to their Trinidadian culture while raising a family and figuring it all while their family was still in Trinidad. Like, I can't even imagine. I could not imagine. And just putting it in that perspective, recognizing that I watched my parents grow up. How lucky am I that I watched them grow up?
That's
And you
beautiful.
see the transformation to seeing how they are with my kids now. It's like, it's just beautiful to watch,
I'm jealous.
right?
I am jealous. I'm like, San, how are you letting him eat that? He didn't have his dinner yet. Oh, Dan. Meanwhile, it was like, don't even drink water until you're finished all your food. I'm
Oh my
like
gosh.
dying. Man, these kids are spoiled and
They
so
are
lucky.
spoiled. Look, when I was a kid, there was no McDonald's money, okay? When
Oh,
my kids when my kids get
McDonald's
dropped
who?
off, McDonald's, my parents like, "All right, let me go get them a Happy Meal real quick." I'm like, "Dad, Mom, come on."
These kids, I mean, multiple birthday parties. It was just like, what do you want? Here's your one gift. My son has a pool party. I'm like, what?
Oh my god.
Y'all
Yes.
are, thank you. Just thank you. Appreciate it. I don't know where
Yes.
you were when I was a kid, but I'm glad you're here now.
I guess their transformation is now complete.
They reached their final form, grandparents.
Yes, yes. But yeah, just recognizing that they're human has helped me parent through, those unintentional wounds,
Yeah.
and recognizing that my kids are human also. And it sounds silly, but real I think we forget. I try to put in perspective, like, it may seem trivial to us, but sometimes those things that your kids are in, like, that is their world. And we have to understand that. Oh, like, sure, the blocks may have knocked down and you're frustrated. Like, why is this kid throwing a fit because the blocks fell down? And I'm like, you know what? To him, that's like if my dining room table suddenly cracked in half, because Lord knows I would be pissed if something happened to my dining room table or to my chair, so I'm like, I put it into perspective. I'm like, you know what, they are human and they're still learning how to handle those emotions. And
Yeah.
when I put it in that perspective, it makes parenting so much easier. It makes it easier for me to maintain peace so I can give them peace as they figure out those emotions.
That's beautiful. And the more you honor them now with what may be trivial to an adult, the more they learn to honor that stuff as well. And then they learn to take mommy's response as their own. So, okay, mommy's calm and calming me down when the blocks fall. So I'm allowed to be calm when the blocks fall and then just rebuild it. You start to become their internal voice. So you're
Yes.
teaching them, so you're doing the affirmation stuff with them and kind of teaching them that inner
Mm-hmm.
lingo and like how to, you know, affirm themselves. But then now you're also teaching them how to kind of self-soothe when things go wrong. It's like, how can these kids not manifest their dopest life when they have
Right.
these really amazing lessons from so early?
Exactly. And I love my manifestations like that. I'm like, I was manifesting before I knew I was manifesting. Like,
Well, you're an oracle. You write like this woman is a
yes.
published. I mean, I told you guys this in the bio, but she has been published everywhere. She's written everything always. So she's definitely been a scribe and an oracle before she recognized those terms, I think.
I guess so. It was hard for me to claim. I mentioned it on Instagram like a couple weeks ago. I have been in the journalism business for 12 years now, 10,
Oh my
12 years.
gosh.
And I always called myself a freelance writer, which there's nothing wrong with it, and a journalist, freelance writer journalist. And in trying to grow my business and, just expand, I was speaking to people bigger than me, so-called bigger than me, and realized that I knew more than them. So I'm like, why the hell am I not claiming it? And let me tell you, the moment that I changed my title, my email address to nationally published journalism or journalist, the opportunities came rolling in. Okay.
Bia,
And I'm like, look,
Bia.
I just had to claim it. And it was, and I know it. I think you always knew these things, but for some reason, it's hard to put it into practice sometimes.
You know what? I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna claim it. I am Idris Elba's wife. Okay, here it comes. I'm ready. I'm ready.
Yes, yes. Let's see what happens. Let's see. Let's see what happens. I love it. But yeah, like once I claimed it, so many things happened. Actually, I claimed it, and let me tell you, I finally became verified on Twitter. And I'm like, look at that. Look at that. Look at God. Look at that universe. You claim it, and the abundance just keeps coming in.
Yes, you've shifted. You
Yeah,
shifted into
I
like that
shifted.
version of you. And it's like you get into the place of course I'm verified on Twitter. I'm a nationally recognized whatever you said
Right?
it was in your in your signature. But of course, right?
Yeah, and it's not like anything changed because I've always been this way, but it just snapped in my head.
Time out, a lot changed. Your energy changed. The
Yes,
whole vibe
yes.
you were putting out changed. You went from small to big. You went from hiding to taking up space. A lot changed energetically, girl. Don't you
You know what?
discount your
You're right.
power.
You're right. Okay, you're right. You're right.
I
Yes, I
know. I
changed.
know.
That mental shift was it.
Yes.
It changed everything. It really did. And it's crazy because, and actually, I don't. Let's scratch that. I don't like to say crazy because it's.
It's amazing.
Yes, it's
Amazing.
amazing because honestly, I've been, guiding people on how to get into the industry for years. Back before I even really knew what I was doing myself. I guess I ignorance is bliss a lot of
You gave me
times.
tips way back in the day.
Yes, I think so. Like 10 years ago. And I mean, and they were good tips, I'd like to think.
They were. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
But it's interesting that you can do all this, all these amazing things and still have trouble seeing it within yourself. And I think that's
Mm,
also partly why representation matters also. It makes it much easier for you to claim what you are and who you are
yes.
when you see somebody else up there ready to pull you up. Like, come on, girl, I'm here. Let's go. Let's go. We
Yes.
got this.
Yes. And even if you don't know that person in real life or digitally, you can still from afar look and get inspired. I don't know how many little boys now want to be a president because of Obama. I don't know how many little girls want to be, a newscaster because they see a brown or Latina face on their TV screen. So it's like
Hmm.
it matters. And guess what? You are doing that for some random girl on Twitter right now.
Yes, and I have to remind myself of that. I always tell myself that your biggest fans are pretending they don't see you.
Ooh, I like
Yes.
that. I never thought
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, your biggest fans are pretending they don't notice you because let's be real. I've never been an influencer. I've never really been like I use social media, but I've never been like a huge follower, so or someone who had a huge following. So, sometimes I just put things out there and I'm like, it just goes out into a void. And, those motivational quotes and stuff, I put them out every morning. And like, there was a point in time when I just stopped. Like, I don't know, I just wasn't really into it. And can you believe I got messages from people like, what happened to them? I like them. And I'm like, oh my God, you actually noticed? Like, I thought my 30 story people, the 30 people that read my stories was it. I didn't know anybody noticed. And that's when it hit me. The people you are really touching, the people who are really moved by you, they are pretending they don't notice you, but they definitely do notice when you're gone.
You know what you just made me remember? I Oh my gosh. So, on Instagram how you can see who shared your post?
Yeah.
I would notice I get maybe a few hundred likes and then but have a large following, and then I would get like the equal amount of shares or sometimes more shares.
Hmm.
So it's like you're not liking, but you're sharing. So you're absolutely right. People are out there
Exactly.
hiding, supporting you on the low, don't even
Exactly.
know it.
They are pretending they don't notice you.
Invisifans.
And
Yeah.
sometimes I think sometimes people get shy. I think maybe it's embarrassing for them to say, "Yo, I love what you're doing." But I always say, "Look,
Mm.
I know for myself, I absolutely love it when people say that they read my work." I got an email from somebody a couple of weeks ago. I wrote some article for Real Simple, and somebody sent me an email just out of the blue, like, I read your article and I really felt it. I loved it. And I can't tell you how good that made me feel.
Ah,
Because again, like
yes.
you love what you do, you're good at what you do, but sometimes you never know if you're really reaching someone at all. So I always encourage people like, look, if you know an artist, if you know a creative, if you know anybody that and you admire their work, let them know. You don't have to feel silly letting them know because I guarantee they will love you for it.
You will likely make their day.
Yes, because I save those things. I wrote this one
Me
article,
too.
right? Because you need those. I have a little book of like all my uplifting things, and then I also write motivational like quotes, and I hide them around my home, and like it's always nice when I stumble upon them.
I like that.
Yeah, so I save those things. It really changes your world. And sometimes it takes that one small thing to change someone's world and you don't realize it. Like sometimes I know sometimes you feel insignificant, when you see
Mm.
people doing these amazing things. Like I just started this nonprofit, I grew this business, I just fed all the homeless. You know,
Just solved world peace, world hunger.
Yeah, basically. And I think we forget that we are touching the lives of people every single day, every single day. And it's something I touch upon in my newsletter. I have a monthly newsletter that I send out. And one of the things that I mentioned in there was that there is a little boy or a little girl somewhere out there that had the best day of their lives today because they're wearing a favorite t-shirt that you sent them. There is somebody else who had the courage to apply for a job because you said you got it. There is somebody who is having the best day of their lives because you made their favorite meal. Never underestimate the impact you're making in someone else's life. It may seem insignificant to you, but you are changing worlds every day and have no idea.
Oh my God, that is some perspective. You guys, are you hearing her? I mean, you're going to want to rewind this episode and listen again because she dropped so many bombs so far. I mean, think about your days, think about all the things you do, think about everyone you interact with, and how you can be making their days and just not even recognize it.
It's true. I mean, I don't know about you, but I feel like there are definitely people that I've had random interactions with throughout my life and I still remember them. Like they made drops in advice. Actually, when I was engaged to my husband, I remember meeting some random woman on the train into New York and we were talking about marriage and stuff. Never saw this woman again. But the stuff that she told me, I held on to that. And
I
I
love
will probably never see this woman again because it was just some random chance encounter on NJ Transit. But
that.
but it makes you think. I'm like, did I ever say anybody like and just in passing that, they held on to your words or whatever. And it also means another reason for us to be responsible in how we treat others because we have to
Mm.
remember at the same time we are all fighting a battle that nobody knows about. So it goes both ways. Those little interactions could change someone's world for the better or worse. If If at all possible, make sure you're changing it for the better. Even if you're just saying, "Hi, how you doing?"
Yes.
And meaning it.
A smile, even just eye contact. I mean,
Yes,
sometimes that's
exactly.
enough to just connect with someone for a moment, for that brief little moment, because you can't see behind the mask these days anyway. But a little bit of eye contact with a squint, so they know there's a smile back there.
Yes, and that's all you need to spread a little sunshine in this world. That's really
Yeah,
all you need. And
I call
we
it
all
leading
need a
with
little
love.
bit. Oh my God, are you serious? That's like my
Yes.
thing. Lead with
Is
love.
it? Oh, see, this
Yes.
is why we're friends. This is why we're
Yes. It's
friends.
like one of my mantras. Like I always say, like the goal or the way to live life with no regrets is to give love, do what you love, and lead with love.
I like that. I tend to say it to John when he's about to get stressed out at the kids. I'm like, lead with love. Don't scream at them. Lead with
Yes.
love.
Oh my God, that's my thing. I actually think it may be in one of my bios, like lead with love. Like that's
Put
that's
it in
like
there.
yes, that is my thing.
Nationally published author, writer that leads with love.
Yes, it's my thing. And I feel like people get confused when you say lead with love. And I'm like, look, it does not mean that you have to be agreeable to everybody.
Mm.
It does not mean that you have to avoid confrontation. It doesn't mean you have to be a yes person. Sometimes the love that you lead with could be the love for yourself. Sometimes it could be choosing peace over, going to a party that you didn't want to go to. Or, it doesn't always have to be, oh, a yes person and I'm a people pleaser. That's not what leading with love means. It means doing it for the right reasons. Whatever you do, do not act out of anger. Don't act out of jealousy. Don't act out of hurt, pain, whatever. Lead from a love for yourself, a love for others, whatever it is, lead with love. Because even if it does not go the way you intended, at least you know you did whatever it is you did for the right reasons.
I see why you're a writer because you've got the words, girl. You've
Oh,
got you've got
thanks.
terrific words. Ah.
Yes.
No, that's so true. Sometimes the loving choice is telling a hard truth, and you're still leading with love. It might not be received, with love bombs back. It might be received with like a contemplation. But leading with love is paramount to all else. Because what's the alternative, right?
Yeah, pretty
What's
much.
the
And
alternative?
that's exactly how we're able to get through life without regrets, I think. Lead with love.
Yeah,
Love
I
is the
love that.
answer. Love.
Aw, this is so warm and fuzzy. I wish I was there. I could hug you in real life, girl. I'm just
I
gonna hug my computer.
know.
Oh.
One day we'll meet in person. One day.
Yes, it's happening. It's happening.
One
So
day.
now that you have dropped all of these bombs and amazing things for everyone to think about, is there anything that you want to leave listeners with? Is there a question that I didn't ask you that I should have? Is there something you want to share as a parting word?
One thing so this sort of ties into my intentional, thing that I do in the morning with drinking from a flute in the morning. I like to toast at the end of every day, or let's say most days, because some days I forget it. Sometimes I get tired, but most days
That's real
I
life,
like to
y'all.
toast to one good thing that happened that day. Sometimes it's just, I had breakfast today, or sometimes it's something big for me that I trusted myself and went off after a great opportunity, or I did not, wallow in grief after I made a mistake, or, it varies. But regardless, I like to toast at the end of most days to something good because my little thing is some days may be horrific, but there's always something that's terrific. And it's up to us to find the good in those opportunities because everything is cracked. That's how the light gets in. So
Ooh.
I can't claim that. That's from some poem. I can't tell you.
I know the poem
I can't.
actually.
Okay.
That's Rumi. That's part of a Rumi quote.
Yeah.
Yeah. The
Someone
wound is
try.
where the light enters, or something like that.
Yeah, yeah. Someone tried to quote. I'm like, no, I can't get the credit for that. That was somebody
Yeah.
else. Please credit the appropriate person. But
Hashtag
yeah,
Rumi.
and when I do these toasts, I try to use one of my favorite wine glasses. The reason being is that we always wait for the perfect moment to use our favorite things. And really, you need to take the moment and make it perfect. So, there's this one wine glass that my husband bought me, and it's engraved with our picture from our engagement and it has our wedding date. And he bought it for me like 2 years ago, and I never used it. And he's like, when you can use it? I'm like, I don't know, maybe our next anniversary, maybe our 10-year anniversary. And I couldn't come up with the perfect day. And then one day in the middle of pandemic, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to use it today. And he was like, well, why are you using it? I'm like, because it's today. And why not? It's a good day. Like, we can sit here and wait for these perfect moments, but we can't let that make us miss the moments that we could celebrate now and enjoy all those moments now.
I
So
love that.
make a toast every night if possible, and use your favorite things. Get dressed up, put on your favorite red lipstick. You don't need to wait to go out to put on your lipstick or, get your hair done. Like, do it now. Make that toast, raise a glass to you, because you are worth it and you are shining.
Yes, yes, yes. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Take this moment and make it perfect. I like
Exactly.
that. That is
Exactly.
beautiful. It's gratitude. It's seizing the day. It's owning the energy that you're stepping into the room with. I love it.
Yes, yes. And it allows you to remind yourself of how fabulous you are, because it's easy to fall off that. And let me go back and say, I'm all about positivity, but let's not get into this toxic positivity, because we are allowed to have a bad day. Just because you
Amen.
can be pissed today, you can hate the world today. You can, and that is okay. But you want to make sure you don't hold on to that forever. You are allowed to feel whatever it is that you want to feel. Don't let anybody tell you that you're a negative person because you had a bad day, and that all the motivational quotes you put online are fake because today you were pissed and cursed out the wrong person. Like, look, I'm a human. I can have a bad day. I can still be a positive person and have a bad day. So let's not go into that toxic positivity. So remind
Amen.
yourself that you're amazing. Have that toast. Write yourself a little note. Hide it in your home like I do, because when you find them notes, it changes your world.
You're fantastic. You guys, I need you to hop on Instagram at the Dani Faust at Terrific Words and tell us your favorite quote. She gave so many quotables. I don't even know which ones I'm going to pull to promote this episode. There's too many.
I'm sorry. I got a lot to say. There's even more. You know what? I can
Never
tell you,
apologize.
I forgot. I got my ebook with quotes. That's
Ooh. Tell everybody where they can find you, where they can get your newsletter, everything. And guys, don't worry. You don't have to write it down. It'll be in the show notes.
yes. So I have an ebook. It's called Actionable Quotes. Your favorite quotes don't work unless you do.
Mm.
And the whole premise of it, it's just 10 quotes, 10 related affirmations, and actionable steps that you can take to actually apply them to your life. Because I know with, and I was guilty at this at one point too. You sit there in Pinterest and you get here saving all the motivational quotes. And what do you do after that? You just save more motivational quotes and share them on Facebook, and then you do nothing with it. Look, these quotes don't work if you don't do anything with it. You got to do the work. It's not supposed to be the fire. It's supposed to light the fire under your ass so you can do something. So that's what the ebook is about. It's short, sweet, 10 quotes, tells you, look, you like this quote? Do this. Look at your life and do this. And you can find that on my website, terrificwords.com. And I also have my newsletter, which I send out monthly. It has uplifting tips, and each one has 30 affirmations that you could use throughout the month. And it has a different theme. One month was the affirmations for asking for help. One month was affirmations for, self-love, etc. And you can find that on my website too.
Fantastic. And on Twitter, you're Terrific Words. On Instagram, you're Terrific Words. On Facebook, you're Terrific Words.
I mean, I'm on Facebook, but I don't really use it. So
okay,
it's terrific.
Forget Facebook, y'all.
It's Terrific Words on Facebook, but I can't tell you the last time I posted on, on that one.
All right. Well, thank you so very much for being here and shining your terrific light on all of us. I know everyone was taking notes or just nodding furiously along as they're driving, as you're telling all these great gems. I love your positivity and just your viewpoint on all of this. This was awesome.
Thank
Thank
you.
you for being here.
I love this. And I just love talking to you. Like we said before, we have never met. I feel like I'm talking to a sister, like from way back in the day, even though apparently you're an older millennial.
I feel ancient, girl.
Look, you don't look it though. You don't look it. You look.
Oh, I like that. Great. Keep going with that.
Yes, yes.
Yes,
well, you just glow. You radiate sunshine.
I
You know,
like just like you.
yes, clearly you take care of yourself. Your family takes care of you. So clearly it's
I like this. You know what? We're gonna go offline and just keep pouring the compliments on me. I need them today. Thank you. All right. Thank you guys. And thank you so much for listening. Hop on Instagram and tell us your favorite quote from this episode at the Dani Faust at Terrific Words. And I will see you guys in a week. Love you. Bye.
Hey, thank you so much for listening again. And if there's something that you want to hear on the podcast, please, I am all ears. You can DM me at the Dani Faust on Instagram, or you can just go to bit.ly/askcoachdani. I am happy to answer your question on an upcoming podcast episode. I'll talk to you real soon. And if you want to catch me on Facebook, I am in the Lifestyle Redesign Lounge, my free group, and you can come hang out with me there. See you next week. Week.